Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be doing a recommendations video for you. Just want to let you know that I do realize that this is blurry. That was an unfortunate mistake on my part. It will be in focus in a few minutes, so just hang tight and please don't click out of the video. This isn't going to be just any recommendations video. This is going to be one of those, if you like this, you'll like this book. I've seen this a lot on BookTube, but I've always wanted to make one of these videos, and today specifically, I'm going to be doing a sort of book math problem with this. So to explain it, sort of, hopefully this makes sense, it'll be like this meets this equals the book that you like. And before I get started, I do want to say that this video is being made in paid promotion by Disney Book Group in honor of the release of #MurderTrending by Gretchen McNeil. This book came out August 7th, so you can already run to the bookstore and get a copy if you're interested. I will be sharing the synopsis in just a second, but I want to use this as my first example for my book math. If you like this, you'll like that recommendation. That's a working title. We're probably not going to call the video that. Scream Queens plus Black Mirror equals #MurderTrending. I really think if you like the humor and the kitschiness of Scream Queens and also like the scary near future-ness of Black Mirror that involves technology, that you will like #MurderTrending. This book takes place in the near future, and in this near future, when someone is convicted of a felony, they are sent to this suburban style Alcatraz, and basically it is live streamed as these felons have to fight for their lives because there's these government sanctioned killers hunting them down. And so I would even say there's a little bit of Hunger Games in this. Our main character is wrongfully accused of a crime, and she wakes up in a dimly lit warehouse finding that she's on this island and that she needs to basically run for her life and prove that she's innocent before, she gets murdered. Obviously it's called #MurderTrending because they stream this whole, I guess, not really a competition, but they stream it all on an app and everybody just watches, and that's how they get their entertainment. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of Black Mirror because Black Mirror is always playing on that, that's not so far off, and we are super into social media these days. I don't know about you, but I think this book premise sounds really original. I've never heard of a book like this before, and I look forward to picking it up and reading it. Let me know down below if you're interested in reading it as well. This next recommendation is very dear to me because this series has quickly become one of my all-time favorite series, and so let's just get into that book math problem. Bones plus Sherlock equals the Veronica Speedwell series. Also, quick side note, this is the third book in the series, so definitely don't start with this one. It's just the only one that I own currently because the other ones are in the mail from Amazon because I had a package get lost and it was this whole thing. But anyway, I have the third one, so I just thought you might want a visual aid, and that's why we're here. So that's my TED Talk. The Veronica Speedwell series takes place in the late 1800s in London and centers around, as you would guess, Veronica Speedwell. In the first book, again, not this one, Veronica is about 26 and she is a single woman who travels often, and she is a butterfly specialist scientist. There's a word for it, but I can't remember. They use it in the book all the time, and I'm gonna Google it right now. Butterfly scientist. So as I was saying, she is a lepidopterist, and so she travels the world hunting butterflies, and she writes papers on them, and she's very scientifically minded, and she's also very sexually expressive, and she's very different for women at this time. So in this first book, Veronica's adoptive aunt dies, and so she's free to just continue on doing her work, traveling the world, and she's about to embark on that when she nearly gets abducted. And so this guy comes and he tells her, I know all about your past. Like I said, she was adopted, and then she ends up getting put with this guy named Stoker, who is also a scientist that travels the world. I'm not explaining it very well, which is unfortunate because like I said, it's one of my favorite series. And what's so great about this series is that it has the science and the relationship aspect of Bones. This is slow burn romance if I've ever read it. If you really like just people building their relationship over a span of many books, this is the series for you. I recently finished this third one, and I'm literally going to die if they don't at least just kiss. So as the books continue, they continue to partner up and sort of solve mysteries. They're both natural historians. They have a lot in common, and so they become very good friends. And this is sort of where the Sherlock aspect comes in because they are solving mysteries together, and it has a lot of that Victorian wit and just intrigue of Sherlock, and I love it so much, and I love them together. They bicker and they're just so funny, and I laugh out loud often when reading these books, and so I just really highly recommend this series. I probably will talk about it way more on my channel and continue to try to figure out how to describe the plot without rambling like I did this time. So this next book math problem recommendation is going to recycle one of the things I just said, but that's fine. Sherlock Holmes plus Veronica Mars equals the Charlotte Holmes series. I brought up this series multiple times on my channel because I absolutely love it. I don't know if you're sensing this theme of the types of books that I like, but I just really like when like people like partner up and solve mysteries together. This series is definitely more closely derived from Sherlock Holmes because Jamie and Charlotte are meant to be descendants of the actual like Sherlock and Watson. So in this first book, we have Jamie Watson going to a boarding school where Charlotte Holmes goes, and he wants to be her friend immediately because their families are obviously very connected. They have a long history together, and they end up getting framed for a murder, so they have to partner up to solve it, and it's kind of just like hijinks ensue, and then every book from then on is it just like building their relationship. I would also say that this is very slow burn on the romance and the relationship. I absolutely love their friendship, and I love the take on the Watson and Holmes characters. They are very similar to the original characters, but they changed them a little bit. It's still unique in this book, I think. And before I read this series, I thought it sounded like a lame concept, but the more I read, the more I love these children so much. They're just such good characters. And yeah, there's 3 books out in the series, and I read all 3, and they're really good, and you should read them. The Craft plus Mean Girls equals The Merciless by Danielle Vega. So this book series centers around this girl named Sophia who moves to a new town, and she's quickly befriended by the popular girls, and they tell her that there's this girl named Brooklyn in their grade who really needs their help because she's fallen into bad things, and little does Sophia know that they intend on having an exorcism, and so she sort of just ends up getting wrapped up in this whole thing. I actually did a lookbook based on this series recently. If you are interested in watching that, I'll link it down below. I ended up reading this book I think in June, and it was so much fun. It reminds me a lot of that sort of like teen horror flick. I feel like The Craft is such a perfect way to describe this book because it reminds me a lot of the elements in that movie. And the popular girls totally act very similar to the girls in Mean Girls, and it has this whole like pink theme that reminds me of Mean Girls. This first book is so fast paced. It's super easy to read. I think I read it in like one day. It just kind of never stops. Like you just get sucked in really quickly and things just take off. It's super gory too, so if you don't like gory things, I don't recommend this, but it's just a lot of fun, and I loved the way it ended, and I really look forward to reading the rest of the books in this series. There was just, I keep using the word fun, but it was just really fun. So for this next book math problem, I am going to again recycle one of the things I used earlier, but Bridget Jones plus Veronica Mars equals the Heather Wells series by Meg Cabot. So this series centers around Heather Wells, who is a former pop star. She fell out of fame when her pop star boyfriend cheated on her, and she lost her recording contract because she had gained weight and also wanted to sing her own original music. So somehow she finds herself working at a college dorm in New York City as a residence hall assistant. So in this first book, one of the students in the residence hall is found dead at the bottom of the elevator shaft, and they assume that is a suicide, that they jumped from the elevator, but Heather starts looking into it and she thinks that it was a murder. I think there's definitely a theme of the type of books I like because 3 of the books I recommended kind of sound like this, but I love a good mystery where people are trying to investigate murders. I like it. I like it a lot. The reason this series reminds me so much of Bridget Jones is both the humor and the fact that the main character is plus size, and she talks about it a lot in the series, and she makes jokes about it, and it's just fun, and I really like the representation of this character. I will admit that because this book was written, I think in like mid 2000s, she can be less than happy with her body, but as the series continues, she becomes very comfortable with herself, which is what I really enjoy. There are a few other things that she sometimes comments on and says that just remind me of like early Friends, where you're like, but don't say that. But other than that, aside from those things, I really like this book series. I read it when I was in high school, and then I recently reread it this year, and it's just a lot of fun. I definitely won't say that they're like Pulitzer Prize winning books, like the writing is not anything like groundbreaking, but it's just like a fun time if you enjoy just kind of like a palate cleanser, something fun and light to read. So that's pretty much it for this recommendation video. Let me know down below if you enjoyed this style, if you want me to make more of these videos in the future. I have quite a few other ideas in the pipeline of how I could compare things to give you books that you might like. Again, a special thanks to the Disney Book Group for sponsoring this video. Like I said, #MurderTrending is already out, so if the synopsis was interesting to you at all, you can go get a copy now. I definitely look forward to reading this. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.
Fight for your love, I'll fight for your soul. I'll throw all of my cares away for you. I'll